just in case. Anyway, hopefully we are now live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, and I would like to welcome everyone to the Feel Inspired podcast, if I can say the damn word. And for anyone joining in for the first time, my name is Amit Sodha. I am the creator and host of this amazing, incredible, phenomenal, show that's going to take the world by storm. But to everyone who knows me knows that that's my sense of humor and that's how we roll around here. But if you are new, the Feeling Inspired podcast was created. I created it because I wanted to recreate some of those moments that we get when we're reading a book, see a quote, hear a motivational video or something, and sometimes it sparks something inside you. It's that moment where you feel inspired to go do something, to make a change. And often it's those moments that are the genesis for the biggest changes in our lives that we will ever have. So I was hoping to recreate that by getting some amazing guests, and I have got an awesome guest today as well. And as always, I generally don't get to know my guests that well, although I've known Vin for probably a number of years now. We don't actually know each other that well, and I like to keep it that way in one sense for the podcast, because then we get to find out more about you on here and your story and what's got you to this point as well. So without further ado, by the way, like I said, this is live on Facebook and YouTube. And of course, if you can't watch the entire live, don't worry, you can obviously watch the replay later. And of course, all the audio will be available for you to listen to when you're on your way to work, you're out for a run, you're going for a walk, whatever it might be. It's always going to be there, and you can catch the podcast on all the major platforms in a few hours' time. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce my special guest today as well. And one thing I will say about Vin is that he's I wouldn't describe him as a personal trainer. I'd probably describe him as something a bit more than that, but I'll let him intro, because I think he takes a bit more of a holistic approach. But I often see his videos that he posts with him and his team, and they're always showing people how to do the exercise correctly, and even more so now as well with it all being online. But I see you take a very conscientious approach and a very kind of caring approach to your clients and what you do, and I think that's always caught my eye. When I see it, I can see and feel how genuine you are in your in the way you want to help people, and I think that sometimes that's quite rare. So I think that's always caught my eye. That's something I've always felt from you. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Vin Patel of Body and Beyond. You can see his logo on his t-shirt as well. That is.
So, well, thank you very much. Firstly, I was not expecting you to say any of that.
Neither was I.
Well, it's actually really nice that you see that side. Like, I don't know, sometimes it's when you don't know someone, you kind of make assumptions about people. And I guess I'm very honored that you feel that way. And that's the assumption you made, because that's what we not tried to put off, because trying to put off something kind of makes it seem a bit not genuine. But that is like one of our strongest values at Body and Beyond, to basically do the right thing. So it's like literally how we write it in the value, like always do the right thing. And obviously doing the right thing when you're a personal trainer is caring about the person you're helping or the people that you're helping. And that's how basically this whole thing has kind of come about in terms of starting and what we are now, because it started as like a one-man band and just me on my own. But yeah.
And now there's a whole team of you. There's a whole bunch of, I see all you guys wearing your t-shirts, and I bumped into Vin as well when my wife was having physio at a particular gym, and I saw him there with all these people who were just like, one of those actually was one of my coaching clients as well, and kind of like,
oh really?
Yeah. So she'd never ever venture into the gym, and then one of those days when I was at the gym, I saw her there as well. She was part of your group, and it was just wonderful to see her there, and she was going at it, so she was that was,
oh wow.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that she's never mentioned it. So
point for her, and then obviously she went on to do to go to the next level, which is beautiful to see.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, that's literally what we're all about. Like, we help people become stronger, fitter, and happier, and than they were yesterday. And that's literally the way we operate and the way we work in terms of helping people and pushing them to be better, and kind of just basically chase that happiness and everything they want to unlock in their life. And we do it by obviously helping people with the goals that they have when they come to us. But usually, as everybody knows, when they go on like a fitness journey or a health journey, it tends to unlock a lot more than just feeling a bit better about yourself and the way you look. Yeah, it just goes crazy, doesn't it? So Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so true. Before we find out a little bit more about you, of course, the topic today was about chasing freedom and happiness, and perhaps we'll do a bit of a dive into the body, mind, soul connection as well. And I'll just tell everyone a very quick funny story. So as Vin knows, and most people probably know, like I'm quite avid now about taking my body and my training very seriously. And, if people ask me, how's the training for the marathon going? I say to people, I'm not training for a marathon, I'm training for life. This is who I am now. It's part of who I am. And but it doesn't mean that people like myself, or I'm sure you for that matter, or anyone else, has those moments where like you feel like you just want to jack everything in that day, that morning, right? So this morning I normally wake up about 5 and get up, meditate, get ready, go exercise first thing. Today just was not happening. I stayed in bed till about 6, quarter past 6, just could not get myself out of bed. Did not want to go for the walk. I was lucky my wife was on it today, because then it got me up, and then eventually we went for a walk today. Normally I run Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays I walk. And then we'll do our exercises in the park as well. We'll use the frames that are there and do our sort of strength training or whatever. But anyway, like just my body wasn't getting going today. She was struggling a little bit as well. But I got into the frame where I do some just basics. If I can't be bothered to do anything else, I'll at least try and do some push-ups. I'll do some dips. We'll do squats and a few other bits just to make sure. And then I decided to kind of put my arms on these like 2x4s and try and do some dips. And I'm a big guy, I'm a heavy guy. For me to do dips without touching the floor is quite difficult. But I did it, and I swear to God, my back clicked about 20 times sequentially. I'm not even joking. I myself off, right? I haven't felt anything like that ever in my life, but in a good way. Like I felt like that channel, that energy had just cleared, and I felt like much better. And I thought to myself, I'm going to be knackered all day. I'm probably not going to get much done. But I got to the point where I did the click, and then it just kind of woke me up, and I felt like quite energized and focused all day today. So it just goes to show, like, for me, that's just one example of the mind-body connection, and it shows just how much we don't realize that our body has an impact on our mind, but also our mind has an impact on our body. It's a symbiotic relationship, 100%. So actually, before we get right, so anyway, I wanted to share that story. I should have come to it later, but before
No, go for it.
I want to hear a bit more about your story and how you got to this point as well, and how you ended up doing what you're doing today as well. And who is Vin Patel, and how did he end up being this personal trainer and this sculptor of bodies?
To be honest, it's all by accident. Accidentally falling forward is how I like to basically live my life.
No.
And what I mean by that is just taking opportunities that came to me. So, how did it start? So I was supposed to go down a different career path. Obviously, everyone who's probably around the age of like 18 and that kind of age, when you're trying to decide what you're going to do at university or what subjects you're going to take before you go to university, you tend to do it based on a number of things. Being an Asian, you do it on what your parents want you to do, what society thinks they want you to do, that sort of thing. So I was trying to go down the route of like a respectable career in physiotherapy. And if I'm completely honest, I wasn't a very well-behaved teenager. So I wasn't focused on my studies and that sort of thing, and didn't get the grades. Smart enough to get the grades, probably just didn't apply myself in that situation. And I understand why now, but then it was just, I don't know, wasn't bothered and didn't want to do it. And it led me to not get the grades I should have, beg teachers to let me do my A-levels, and then end up doing A-levels that I did. What did I do? I did PE as an A-level. I did biology, maths, and IT. Ended up anyway, didn't get very good A-levels either, and I blagged myself onto a sport and exercise science degree. So one of the A-level teachers just said that go for that will leave you to open up some doors. You don't know what you want to do. See if you can switch on to physiotherapy if you still want to, a year in or whatever, and then take it from there. So that's what I did. I went to university, slightly chubby at that point, didn't really know what I was going to do afterwards, just carried on going, and ended up on a sport and exercise science degree. And then there was an option of doing a fitness instructor course, not even a personal trainer course. So it was like, go get yourself some work experience, something to whack on your CV. That way you can differentiate yourself from other people all around the country who are doing the exact same thing as you, because there's not that many opportunities after you do an exercise and science degree, in terms of you either work in a lab and do kind of studies and you kind of go down that educational pathway, or you, I guess most people tend to work in like sports teams and that sort of thing. And that is obviously a lot harder. So they were saying, do something to differentiate yourself. So I did that. As part of that, you had to do a work experience in a gym. I managed to get some work experience based actually quite local to where, I don't know, probably a lot of people who are watching this are in around the Harrow area. So I was based in Norfolk Park in a gym there in the golf club. I'm not sure if you're aware of where that is, but
yeah, I know exactly where that is. I used to live around
yeah. So I was there and did some work experience over the summer. The manager or the owner of the gym at the time said, call me back after you've kind of got your level 2 and I will see if I have a job for you. And I did. And he ended up not having any vacancies and said, I will call you back. I just thought, it's one of those things. It won't happen. And just carried on about going through my degree and through working part-time at Argos. Anyway, I got a call from him. He said, come and work. I jumped at it because it was more related to what I was studying, and it's something that I actually really enjoyed when I was there. And I started working out then as well. So I started to see changes in my body, feeling good about myself, starting to lose a bit of weight, all those sorts of things that most people tend to experience when they start the gym. And I just got the bit of the bug of like kind of looking after myself and working out and just enjoying it. There's no real kind of career aspect from it from there. But when I started working there properly and started actually helping people, then I wasn't doing personal training, but just taking care of members in the gym, showing them how to do things, writing programs, that sort of thing, and taking care of people. I just felt fulfilled a bit more. Like I felt like I was doing something that is worthwhile. Like this is a way someone should be living their life, in terms of like you're helping someone else and you're getting something from it yourself, like you're getting a box ticked. And also I saw how the other personal trainers were working and, they were making like a decent living. And I thought, this is what I want to do after I finish. And I then decided to do a level 3 after, and then carry on from there. And fast forward a bit more, that's how it got started. And I became a personal trainer. As soon as I left university, I was like, that's it. The day I handed in my dissertation, the day I sat my final exam, is when I started working as a personal trainer and I started my business. And since then, I haven't looked back. I've just been self-employed, I guess, since 21, and just carrying on since then. Now 30 years old, and just trying to basically find freedom, find kind of happiness in my own journey, while providing the same to other people, including the people that work with us in Body and Beyond, not just the people we train. And that's
It's
literally what I'm on.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful story. And it literally is almost impossible not to find some semblance of happiness when you're helping others to find it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is like a natural byproduct. It happens when you're giving a lot of yourself, you start to feel quite fulfilled. You feel quite happy to see people transform. And like I mentioned about the person who's training with you, I was a former coaching client of mine, and I see the fact that she went from someone who detested the gym, and then to see her at the gym. And I remember she and I having that conversation, to the point where she was in tears one day, and I was saying to her, look, you're going to have to do this. There's no two ways about it. And seeing the difference it's made in people's lives, I think there's no way you can feel bad about that. Do you know what I mean? Right? Everyone has ups and downs, but the more you give, the better you feel ultimately, I think. And yeah, I think that's a beautiful story, man. And it's amazing that you were at that stage when you were 20, even before that, of course, but at 21 just decided, right, dissertation done, I'm gonna do this shit now, I'm gonna go do what I love to do. And not many people have that as well. I think that's quite a rare commodity in this day and age, and to see you do it, I think, is a beautiful thing, I have to say.
To be honest, it's like I said, I'm a bit like of an optimist. Like I always look at the brighter side of things and like try to think that things are going to work out at all times. And I'm not saying I'm not negative. Like, people have negative thoughts all the time, but I mean, I just look at it as like things will work out, and I'm a bit naive as well in terms of like how much work is involved in actually doing stuff like this. So I just go in and think, hope for the best, and it will be fine. And that sometimes can be a bit of a hindrance and not the best thing all the time, but it worked out in this way. And that's not to say that, you know, there weren't barriers in the way. There were a lot. Like I remember, you know, you get asked, like, you're in a lecture room, there's a few people in there, they're going, what are you going to do after you finish? Because it's the last kind of week or whatever of exams or whatever. And I remember the lecturer, I said, I'm starting my own personal training business. And he looked at me, because I was quite chubby at the time. I wasn't in the best shape. I think I was about a size 34 waist. And when you're not very tall, like at all, that looks like you're almost like obese. So so like I was literally like, someone's looking at me like, are you really? Okay. And he kind of smirked, and that's all I needed. Like that smirk, it felt a bit like a punch in the mouth, and I was like, all right, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And that's how I'm always am. Like, not that it didn't knock me at the time, obviously when it happens, it always knocks you, like little comments and things like that from people. But yeah, that was a bit of a feel. And then, of being in like with Asian parents and stuff, like my mum, when I told her what I wanted to do, she was like, what did she say? She said, oh, why don't you work in a hospital or something as like a trainer in there, so you like rehabilitate people, because it's a bit more of a stable job, isn't it, rather than self-employed in a gym. So she meant the best. Like, she didn't say don't do it, but yeah, she was just saying like have some security kind of thing. And I was like,
Mum, that's not a bad suggestion, actually. You know, that would be a good option for you. By the way, Kavita's asking. She said, "What do you feel gave you your positive attitude?"
My mum, if I'm honest. Like I've thought about this a lot. Like, where has it come from? Like, because when I was really young, I wasn't a confident kid, or it came afterwards, like through high school and stuff, and just making friends and stuff. Like, I just became a bit more confident, and then I lost it as I gained weight and things. But it came from my mum. I think she just was someone who, as kids, were like, don't worry, everything will be okay. She said it in Gujarati all the time to us, like, everything's going to be okay. I can hear her voice right now saying it. So I think I've just got that motto that everything's going to be okay in life. And that's when I say I accidentally fall forward, in terms of like, I just try to basically just live life in a way that just keep moving forward, keep trying, and hopefully things will work out. And usually they do.
I think that's what Kavita is asking, is, you know, because sometimes people are afraid of that. And, you know, you've kind of decided, you've kind of opted, I don't give a crap what happens, I'm just going to go for it anyway. And I think some people are very worried about the outcome, and that worry and that self-talk about the outcome is what stops them moving forward. And do you get that as well? Do you have like a little method that you use to kind of counterbalance it, counteract it?
If I'm honest, the worst I've had it since, like, feeling negative is probably during this whole period of like lockdown and coronavirus and stuff. I've been scared, so scared, because I have a health condition. So basically I have an immune deficiency, so I don't produce certain antibodies and get ill really quickly. And that means that, like, I've been put into the vulnerable category, and I have to shield. So like, the really critically, like, I got a letter from the NHS and stuff saying, don't leave the house.
Oh, wow.
Literally, don't even put the bins out. That's what it said on the letter. So I was like, what the hell? I was really alarmed by it. And then I tried to get like life insurance and stuff, because I have like a young daughter and stuff, and a partner and things. And I'm like the only person who is kind of working in the house and that sort of thing. So I was like, oh my God, like, this is a bit serious. Like, so, and then they declined me life insurance as well. So I've been very panicked about it. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, like, I need to be very careful. So I've literally been anxious around people. When I see my own family, I'm like, guys, stay back, like 2 meters away. Like, I'm super, super like anxious. And today I was doing the dishes and something just clicked, and I thought, why am I living life scared? Like, I don't know what clicked. I think I was listening to a podcast by Eric Thomas, and he's someone I listen to a lot. And he's very like kind of spiritually led and he believes in God and that sort of thing. And sometimes the messages he puts out are they just hit home sometimes at the right time. You just need to hear them. And I can't remember what he said, but something just clicked and I thought, why am I afraid of something that is inevitable? Like, I'm going to die one day. I don't know when it's going to be. Don't live in fear. Like, be careful, obviously, still. Don't be silly. Like, I'm not going to just randomly kiss a stranger on the face. But I mean, like...
ladies and gentlemen, watch out. You may see Finn coming up to you going...
Yeah, but as in, what I mean is just... Fear is in your mind. Like, it's, I think something Will Smith says a lot. He, when he said about jumping out the plane, and when it's the build up up until the thing, and then you jump, and then you're like, I'm falling out of a plane, but what was I scared of? This is amazing. And it's that you build up things in your head. It's like, it's not real. There's a lady called Katie Byron who's got a book called I think Loving. So I can't. I'm going to butcher the title, so I'm not going to say it. But yeah, she's got this thing. Like, is it true? Is what she asks a lot in the book to kind of deflate negative thoughts and worries and anxiety and things like that. And like, you go through a series of processes that she has in the book, and you ask yourself, like, is it true? Is this actually real? Like, and most of the time it's not. Like, yeah, there's coronavirus right now and stuff, but is it going to kill me? I don't know. Like, there's no actual answer to that, is there? You don't know. You just don't live with fear is what I'm trying to say. Like, I just try to kind of let go of it. But going back to the actual question, yeah, like, I do have it a lot. And it's not to say that I'm not always optimistic and stuff. I'm not always like that, but I try to be like that. I try to find myself back to that. And the best way I do it is the way I just said about listening to positive voices. That I was listening to Amit and Manmeet on their last podcast episode, and it helped me personally. Just listening to somebody else and feeling inspired by them. Like, that's what this whole podcast is about.
Love the plug.
But it's literally what this is why I desperately wanted to come on, to your podcast. When you said, would you like to come on? I was like, yes, because I'm all about that. Like, just, you don't know who's listening to you. You don't know who you're going to touch and with what you're saying. And you don't know who needs to hear this right now. And sometimes they just hear the right thing, and then it makes a massive difference in their life, or a very small one that leads to something else.
Yeah, so true. I totally relate though to what you said, because I felt ill really badly last year. We got back from Vegas, and do you know what? If I didn't have COVID last year, I know the people are saying it came out in December, whatever it was. Yeah. If I didn't have COVID last year, I had something that was identical to it. But like, literally, like, we got off the plane from Vegas, and next I had 1 day rest, I think, when I got back, and the next day I was out running, and I couldn't run, like, I couldn't breathe, and then I ended up having the worst cough I've ever had in my life. Like, literally how people have been describing with COVID. Like, it was a gut-wrenching cough, and it was so painful. My ribs, my back, everything was hurting from it, and it led to several follow-on conditions as well. It took me ages to recover from it. I've never had anything like that in my entire life. And it was causing me to choke severely as well. So like daily, I was having these choking episodes, and as everyone knows, choking is never pleasant.
No.
When you're going through it 3 or 4 times a day, right? It like that fear has remained a remnant in my head. But also I thought, like you, I've been just really thinking this through. I understand we have to be responsible, but I'm not going to let that the fear stop me from living, because I think, what's the point in frigging being alive if you're not going to live? Yes, we be responsible to protect ourselves and others, but still, I'm going to frigging live. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's just so important that, I don't know if you know a guy called JP Sears on Facebook, and he's done a really funny video about masks and coronavirus and stuff. And he was just taking the mickey out of the fact that, people are shielding so much, hoping nothing happens. But ultimately, every time you do that, you shrink some part of your life. And you've got to get to the point where you question, okay, how much am I going to shrink it down before I really, I'm just giving up on life. And, I think that's fundamental. We've just got to accept a level of you're always living with a level of risk in your life, no matter what. And so I think the question is, though, okay, how much are you willing to accept so that you can still at least live your life to the, as much as you can possibly live it and still enjoy your life and feel fulfilled in what you're doing. And, that must be tough for you, though, just being in that position of, the immune deficiency and, thinking like, I mean, obviously for us, gyms are opening next week. And are you going to be going back and stuff? Are you planning to?
Yeah, so we will be like doing stuff and that sort of thing, but
I feel like I'm advertising Under Armour here. So
but yeah, it will be done in a safe way that our members are safe and secure. We put out like a survey to them and their intentions and what they'd like to do. And most of them want to continue training virtually, like online, how we have been over the lockdown with some outdoor stuff and like in a safe place. So we'll just be carrying on with a lot of what we've been doing, but starting to slowly move back with certain things. But we're probably not going to rush back in just straight away. And when we do it, we're going to do it at a bit more of a private location. So rather than doing it in a public gym, we'll be offering personal training and small group training and that sort of thing in a private area. We've hired like a space that we're going to be using. It's just us there. So we've got like full kit and that sort of thing. And then we'll be doing it there rather than in a public gym. Anyway, for the time being anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's a safer move, and we can just serve our members a lot better. Because
I love what you. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I love what you said as well. And Kavita was asking, because what advice would you give someone who perhaps doesn't have a positive role model?
Find one. In terms of, this is one that I the reason why I say find one is because I didn't have like a lot of like role models in the sense of like a business world, and a lot of people that I didn't know. Like I didn't know many great personal trainers. There was a handful in like the gym that I was based at, but I didn't have loads of role models in the career that I went into. In the business side of things, I had no clue what to do in terms of like how to run a business or what to do, any of that. And it was just finding people out, like seeing people on the internet. Now people have courses, like people have like free videos, like someone like I said, like there's a guy called Eric Thomas that I listen to a lot, and he's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but he's just someone who resonates with me. And just he's got free videos on YouTube. You can pay for some of his stuff and things like that, but there's loads of people that you can listen to. And the more, I think what it is I think there's a saying about like your circle, your most inner circle, like the 5 most closest people to you impact you quite a lot. You can create those 5 people in your own ear all the time. Like, and I literally mean sticking in headphones and just listening to someone's voice in the morning when you first wake up, whether it's whoever you find inspiring, whoever you want to be a bit more like. And I don't mean idolize people. You shouldn't idolize people because you don't know what goes behind closed doors and you don't know what the true person is like. But I just mean, say you're trying to be a bit more like their spirit or their positivity, or take something from them that is positive. It's just like you could listen to them a little bit and then kind of take a bit more on from them rather than from someone who's slightly a bit more negative in your life or not as positive or supporting you in the right way. And that's literally how I did it. And I'm not saying that I had to tune people out, and because I was quite blessed and people around me are supportive and stuff. But I mean, I didn't have those role models in terms of like looking for how to run a successful business or how to become a great personal trainer. I had to like seek them out and just find who the right people were and listen to them. And luckily so far I've been listening to the right people and it's led me right. But yeah, I guess I guess what you put out as well is what you attract in your life, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, right, I think I'm going to just double up on exactly what you said, that, you can be with the people that you who are your idols, not idolized, of course, as you said, right? But your idols, the people you look up to for what they've achieved or their skills or their mindset, whoever it is. And I was doing the same as well. When I was at the gym every morning and stuff, I'd have something on YouTube playing in the background, whether it was Eric Thomas or Simon Sinek or Gary Vee or Tony Robbins or whoever it might have been. Like, it's just listen to everyone, anyone and everyone that had that someone I thought is their words are going to kind of push me a little bit and just kind of really make me see things in a different way. I'll listen to them. And it makes so much difference. Like for me, that is one fundamental thing I tell people now is just whatever happens, there is so much crap coming in from every side. You know what? You can control what goes into these ears. You may as well take full control of it. Put your headphones in, listen to someone, as you said, listen to audiobooks. I'm more into audiobooks now as well. And just you're just then being fed all the positive stuff, the good stuff, or you're going to be being fed all the crap stuff if you don't pay attention to it. It's like your body as well. It's the same thing, right? You can either feed yourself stupid junk food all the time, or you can feed yourself good stuff, which is going to obviously help your body, your mind, everything. Same with your mind. We get to choose what we feed this all the time, and so we've got to pay attention to that and act diligently accordingly as well. And I think that's fundamental. So yeah, no, I appreciate those words so far. I think that people are going to be taking a lot away from that. But I wanted to talk to you more about what you kind of offered up as your topic of the day, which is about chasing happiness and freedom. And what made you choose those words, actually, the chasing happiness and freedom?
So the reason why I said chasing happiness and freedom is because I have a vision statement for myself and for our company, I guess. It's to help create truly like free and happy people. And that's the vision statement. So that's in an ideal world, and that's what we want. The way we do that is our mission, which is to help people become stronger, fitter, and happier than they were yesterday. And the reason why is that I talk about freedom and happiness is because I want people to feel truly happy and feel fulfilled. And I think the only way you feel like that is when you're free. And when I say free, I don't mean like, you don't have a job and you don't have to go to work and you don't have responsibilities and like you're living the life of luxury. I don't mean it in that way. I literally mean in your own mind, you're free from chains that are holding you back. So like one of the ways that a lot of people come to us, and this is how it all came about, is when people come to me and they ask me for help, from when they came to me and it was just me to all the way to now when we have other people who are taking sessions as well as just me and helping our team, they often talk about, I want to lose weight, or I want to get into shape, or I need to get in shape for this wedding. And we have a process. So whenever someone comes, we ask them, why do you want to do that? And they may go, I want to be more confident. I want to look good and feel good about my body. And we say, why do you want to look good and feel confident about your body? And they go into something else and say, I want to be like a role model for my kids. Or and they say, well, why is that important? Why do you want to be a role model for your kids? And they say, because I want to just feel like myself, and I don't want them to feel like how I feel. And I'm like, well, what is that? Like, how is it that you feel? And I feel restricted. Like, I feel like I can't do things that I want to do. I don't feel, and I'm like, is it, you don't feel happy? And they're like, yeah, like I don't feel happy. I feel restricted. So I was like, it's just I don't try not to put it in my words in their mouth, but often people come to the point that losing weight or getting into shape or whatever the X goal is often results in, I just want to feel free. I want to feel myself again. I want to feel happy with who I am. And that's why we do what we do, basically, is because we want people to feel that way, where they don't have to worry about the way they look when they get up, or where they don't have to worry about, would I be able to chase after my kids? Can I have kids? Can I, am I healthy enough to do that? Am I healthy enough to, be in a place where I can run around from my grandchildren? Can I go on holiday when I'm older? Is someone going to look after me in a wheelchair, or am I going to be self-sufficient in myself? Like all these things that people may be worried about, we don't want them to worry about. We want them to have the freedom just to live every single day in a state that they wake up. I don't mean always happy. I just mean being able, strong enough and happy enough inside to be able to deal with life's things. So whether it is like a loved one passing away, like I don't mean you're going to feel happy then, but you're happy enough internally to be able to deal with that and keep going. And that's what I mean by free and happy. And that's really why we do what we do. We want everybody in the world to be able to feel like that. And my motto is, the way you impact the world is by impacting one person. Because say I help like for example, you said this lady that, you know, say we help her feel free and secure in herself and happy. She then may have the same impact on her sister, or say she's a teacher and she has that impact on the children she teaches. And that child ends up to go and grow up to be the one who cures cancer because of this teacher who helped, I don't know, make that child feel confident because they felt confident. You just don't know the effect of what you do. And that's the way I'm basically trying to change the world, if without sounding too arrogant or like kind of up myself, is just by helping one person in any way possible to help them then have another effect on another person, and so on and so forth. And then hopefully everybody in the world will eventually feel that way.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people on the same mission, so I'm not alone in this.
I love what you're saying as well, because that reminds me, reading one of the books I read a couple of weeks ago was Simon Sinek's book about Start With Why. And I love that your mission statement is all about why. It's not, yeah, we'll get you a six pack, because obviously that's the what, right? But, you know, the why is to give people that sense of, I hate using the word control because it has so many connotations behind it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Sense of being a director of their life, you know, being someone who's in charge of their world, you know, and having some semblance of I feel like, you know, I'm molding or making my life into what I want it to be. And I think that, you know, for everyone is pretty key. And I love the fact that you've kind of started from that point of helping people define their why. And when you do that, because I think ultimately, you know, this is what drives us all, right? It's the why. Why are we doing it? You know, why? Maybe someone comes to you because they happen to be a guy who's after a particular girl and wants to be in the best shape of their life, right? You know, that could be their why in that moment. But, you know, it's helping people reach that point where they know their why, and then they can actually, you know, really make an impact on themselves. You know, for me, the biggest changes have come in my life has been when I've understood my why and why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I choose to be here, and, you know, why I want to make an impact, and, you know, all of this kind of stuff. And so I think that's a powerful thing, and I think that's gonna be, you know, bring so much change to people for you.
It's also very motivating as well. So when you have like a strong enough reason for why you're doing something, it really pushes you to be the best, like kind of really chase after it. So one of the reasons we do that is so people are clear and have like clear focus on what they're trying to achieve, and they understand truly why they're trying to do it. But in turn, that gives them a level of motivation of like, from a point of like just initially meeting someone and going through that, they feel like, I'm ready to go for this now. And the reason for that is because you're so clear on what you're trying to achieve. So when, you know, like this morning you felt you couldn't be bothered, you may or may not have subconsciously gone to your why and eventually done some sort of action. Even if it wasn't exactly what you intended to, you did something to move you closer to your why, as opposed to just going, nah, I'm not going to do anything and I'm just sit down all day and binge out on food kind of thing. Do you see what I mean? Like there's,
I was very close. I was very close there.
But it doesn't. Do you get what I mean? It doesn't have to be like, oh, this why is going to transform me, and I'm always going to be on it, and I'm always going to be 100%. I'm going to be clear and focused and keep going, and, you know, because I haven't felt like that over this lockdown at all. Yeah. But like it still makes you get out of bed and go, you know, I'm just going to keep going regardless of how I feel. Just do what I can today, and sometimes that's good enough. I'm not like promoting complacency, but I mean, there's a difference between completely giving up and just doing the bare minimum on the day rather than going 110%. You know, sometimes the bare minimum or your effort, your max effort that day is just good enough. That's why we always say to everyone, is one of our values for our coaches and for our members, that we've written our values in a way that a member must, to be able to join Body+Beyond, they must encompass these values as well. And I don't mean we like give you a quiz or an exam for that, but because we put it out there, we usually attract people who are like us, and they come and, you know, we have like a community. But one of them is strive for progress, not perfection. So it's
love it.
Yeah, it's strive for progress. That's the statement, and that's it. And what it means is like we just try to improve, as opposed to like try to aim for the best that you absolutely should be. Like you're not comparing yourself to your best version of yourself. You're just comparing yourself to maybe what you were yesterday. and just keep going forward from there. It's literally on my t-shirt on the back. It says stronger, fitter, happier. And the most important that statement is than yesterday, because stronger, fitter, and happier, then what? Like, you can't be the strongest and the fittest and the happiest. You always, some days are not going to be like that. But as long as you try and improve and progress, you're doing the right thing. And that's how I like to live my life, in terms of like progression and moving, like falling forward by accident is the whole thing that I get at, is like, it's a constant moving forward as opposed to staying the same, because there is no staying the same. There's only going backwards or moving forwards. So, and what I mean by that, this come from Eric Thomas actually, is you, when you're staying the same, you're actually going backwards. And what I mean by that is like, you're stagnant. You're like water that is in a still bottle. It goes off because it's not moving. Well, I don't know if that's why it goes off, but that's the analogy I'm using, and I'm going to go for it. Constantly move forward. And it doesn't have to be like major leaps into like going from like, let's say you bought a house that's 3 bedrooms and you're happy in it, and then trying to buy a mansion. I don't mean like that. I just mean, not even in the house terms, probably a poor example, but I mean just constantly like trying to strive for like a little bit better in your life, and just not accepting that this is it. Like, this is it. This is how I have to live. Like, that's what I mean. Just try to improve every day, live life in a way that makes you progress, and constantly find new things and be better than who you were yesterday.
Absolutely. And you know what, the thing you said about strive for progress, not perfection, I say that to people day in, day out, because it's a perfectionism that ends up making most of us stumble. I know I do it all the time, and I keep reminding myself, like, it's just about a little bit of progress, that do that 1% better than I did yesterday, make that little bit of progress. And I was injured. I think it was back in March. I think it was. I injured my knee, and I know for a lot of people that would have been a big stumbling block. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to stop training. So literally, I put the word out. I said, "Has anyone got any crutches? I haven't got time to go to the hospital and get crutches. Has anyone got any crutches?" Luckily, my next door neighbor had some. I took the crutches off his hands, and the next day I ended up doing 13,000 steps on crutches. Wow. And but I didn't, like you said, right? Sometimes it's easy to become complacent as well. And I wanted to make sure I didn't become. So I thought, right, okay, cool. For me, I'm going to train more today than I did yesterday on one leg. And I did it. And, the next day, I think I did even more. I went to 14,000 steps. I probably did more on those 2 days than I did on an average day, right? You generally average about 10,000. But whatever happens, though, I do kind of just aim for a bit of progress. And I think that and what you said about, the why thing for me this morning, actually, it's what got me out of bed. Literally, it was that my wife prodding me a little bit as well, tiny bit, but mainly it was my why. And it's become such a habit now that it's just going to enter my head and then boot me out of bed naturally. Yeah. And, you have to get that momentum long enough that eventually it becomes a habit. And it gradually becomes easier. You have to rely less on your willpower, and suddenly it's just becomes automated in you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's a beautiful thing what you said about your motto and your statement on your t-shirt, and it's a powerful thing. I think that should definitely not be underestimated.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't want anyone to be confused by that either. When I say progress, I don't mean statistically speaking. Like, so Amit said about like going for 14,000 steps. You may be that hurt that you can't walk the next day. And what I mean is, if getting out of bed is your effort of progress, so I mean progress in terms of like, whether it's your effort, whether it's your mindset, whatever it is, like, try to push forward and don't let like, your standard slip, is what I'm saying. Is like, I said this to my brother the other day about like, like often people get especially like in our Asian community, he just graduated and he did really well in his exams and stuff, and often you congratulate someone, you're like, well done, you got this, you got that, you got this result, and they think that that's what they need to do to get that same thing again, like that reward or that praise from their parents or siblings or whatever, and then they keep chasing these like metrics. And I said to him, I'm not proud of you because you achieved this you got a first in your degree. Like, and that's not why I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you because you didn't give up. You went through struggles. You you pushed and you gave your effort. You didn't go, I'm just gonna throw in the towel because it's hard. There was points where he didn't want to carry on, and I was like, regardless of if you don't really want to give up, like because it's not right for you, that's fine. But what I mean is just keep going if it is. And the effort is what I praised, and that's what I mean by progress in terms of like push forward in your effort rather than just trying to chase a number or a statistic, or because often that can lead you to a big doom in the end as well. You have to be smart as well. Say you're sick and you can't, let's just go back to training with weights. If you lift like, I don't know, normally you lift like 20 kilos, is going to be for everyone on the 25th who's trying to go back to the gym. If you normally lifted an X amount or you trained a certain way and in the lockdown you haven't been able to train that way, don't kill yourself trying to do what you used to do or beat what you used to do. Just push your effort in the way that, like you tried your hardest that day. So your effort level is better than yesterday, or it was slightly better, or at least you matched it. It wasn't done in a way that, you just gave up because you felt a bit rubbish. Give your best any given day rather than your best ever.
Yeah, I like that. That's true. That's a good piece of advice, actually. It's a good soundbite as well. We'll use that for sure. I think that's definitely an important thing as well. Moving off topic ever so slightly and stuff, I wanted to get your thoughts. What's your thoughts on the whole kind of mind-body connection? I sort of alluded to it a tiny bit earlier, but how do you feel about the impact that the body has on the mind has on the body, and how they work together? And what's your thoughts on that?
I think there's a major, like a really big connection between the two. Like I'm very evidence-based in terms of like what we do is very science-led. Like we always go by what the science is saying, what the studies are saying. I sound like one of those people on the news right now with coronavirus. We're following the science. But what I mean by that is like even the science says that you impacting your body, like in terms of like training and stuff, has a positive effect on your mind. It literally releases chemicals and hormones in your brain to make you feel better. And if you feel better, you generally just have a feeling of wellness. In your head, you're going to feel healthier, if that makes sense. So from a mental health point of view, has a major impact. And like in terms of a mindset thing, that puts you in a good place to be feeling good. And there's some studies done, and I can't quote them off the top of my head, but on even things like cancer patients who believed they were going to get well and cancer patients who didn't believe they were going to get well. And the people who generally have belief that they're going to get well tend to actually not always get well, because it doesn't work like that with cancer, but they had better results of getting well than the people who didn't believe they were going to get well. And that says something. Like that, how you think can impact physically how you feel and like what your body does in terms of a health perspective. And also how you treat your body definitely has an effect on like how you feel. Everyone can say after a workout, unless it was like something that you literally, I got injured or something. Most people tend to feel good after a workout. Maybe not right away when you're, that was really hard. But afterwards, you tend to feel the benefits. And like you said, like, you just felt really good today after that. You doing those dips and accomplishing something. Because that's a sense of accomplishment. This is why I love weight training, because you get a very big sense of accomplishment from like lifting a weight that's really heavy, or even like running and stuff. Like you I don't know if most people feel the runner's high. That's probably why you do the marathon stuff. Like it's crazy. Like when you do it, you're in pain, and then afterwards you feel this like sense of like euphoria, like you've accomplished something, and it's like really amazing. Like it's why people do these insane like Ironmans and like these things. They run through the Sahara and they have blisters on their feet and they eat out of everything that's in their back and live in what's in their back, and then they run for 100 days and things like that. Like, it's crazy, but they do it because of the sense of accomplishment and achievement. I've gone slightly off topic, but that same thing can be achieved by just a small workout or a stretch, even in the morning. And saying that, like like, like you don't have to do something grand to be great. Like you can just do the small things. Is my goal this whole last week and this week was to start my workout, because I've been that poor with actually doing my sessions. I've been training like, this may sound like an achievement to a lot of people, but as in like I've been training like 2 to 3 times a week. And for me, that's failure, because the program that I'm following is to train 4 to 5 days minimum. So for me, that's like, I'm not hitting my goal. And I was like, oh, I'm ready to just pack it in. I'm just gonna write a new program for myself and quit on this and, not do it. And I thought I just listened to something on Sunday, and it came to me, and it was like, it was something about habit stacking. So I thought, I'm going to try it, where you stack one habit off the back of another one.
Atomic Habits?
Yeah, that's it. It was I watched his YouTube video, and
James Clear.
James Clear, yeah. And I need to listen to the book, the audio book.
Amazing book. I think I listened to it about 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks ago, actually. Yeah,
okay.
Really good book.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to it, because that little 8-minute video was amazing, and he was talking about stacking a habit off the back of another one. So
I would
something you do every day.
Yeah, I'd actually rate that as one of my top 5 personal development books of all time.
Oh wow! Okay, definitely downloading it after this podcast. Yeah, so I did that, and I literally, after my morning coffee, I thought the thing that I said I was going to do was start my workout, not finish it, not like do some crazy workout, literally start it. And I always start with a warm up. And my intention was to start it. And guess what happened last week and this week? So far is I trained 6 days last week and trained once this week. I missed yesterday. I just managed to do the warm up because I didn't get enough time, but still got it done in terms of like starting it. And today I finished the workout that I missed yesterday. And it's literally, what I mean by that is just progressing and like keeping going forward and just trying not to go crazy with what you're trying to achieve and the goals you're trying to set. Even those small things that you do, like little things that are physical, can have a massive impact on how you feel. I've been very productive today. Yesterday, not so much, because I missed that start. I didn't do what I was supposed to at the start of the day. And I felt like I didn't feel good. And I know that if I'd done something physical in the start of the day, I probably would have felt better. And it's the same thing with people who find like meditation the same effect. So they start their day with something mental, feeling good. And I do that on the weekends. So I tend not to work out when I wake up. I'm with my daughter normally on the weekends first thing. And we play feel good music while we have breakfast. And it puts us in a really good mood. And maybe not her, I don't know. But I always feel good, and just something mentally to make myself feel good in terms of, and I tend to dance, and it makes your physical, affects your physical. So yeah, if that's what you meant by the mind-body connection, that I do believe in it. I do think it has a major thing, and there's science that backs it as well.
Don't worry, I'm not going to ask for a dance demonstration.
Oh, please don't.
No, don't worry, you're safe there. No, great answer. I think it's so very true, and I think that I would say, just to add to that from my own experiences, that more and more I'm starting to realize just how interconnected they are. There was a period of time where I went through, and I think I probably kidded myself a little bit, that the mind spirit was more important, but you realize actually that's not true. And anytime I come across anyone who's in that position now, I obviously I don't try and force my beliefs onto them as well, but I say to them, look, but tell me how you truly feeling. If your body's feeling like crap, there's a reason for it, and you've got to start looking after your body as well. And that was the truth for me as well. I was feeling like crap, so I made a whole bunch of changes 2 years ago and decided I'm not going back, and I've never been back since. And the other thing I wanted to say to you, in particular to you as well, was that I just want to say thank you for your honesty, because I think that that's quite rare. People they talk about their struggles and what you're even going through recently. Sometimes people need to hear that. They need to know that you people like you and I, we are superheroes, but we do have our kryptonite days, right? Today I had my kryptonite day, and I've got no qualms about admitting it. It's just one of those things. I literally would have happily gone back to bed this morning. And funny enough, for me, I don't know what it is, but I find it harder to wake up early in the summer than I do the winter. And I love the summer more now than maybe it's because I'm just so happily comfy in bed. But in the winter, I'll wake up very easily, 5 o'clock on the dot, I'll be up. And, you know, in the summer, snooze, snooze. Well, I know it's 5:20, 5:30, and I'm like, get your backside up, boy. And yeah, so, you know, we all have our bad days, but I commend you for sharing that, because I think sometimes people, you know, it just makes them think, oh yeah, cool, you know, I don't feel so bad about myself. And that sometimes just gets them out of a little bit of a funk. Even just, you know, just that little tiny feeling inspired moment.
Yeah. To be fair, this is why I say don't idolize people, is because you don't know what they're really going through. Like, especially because most people idolize people from social media, like what they see, what they put out. We always put out our best. Like, it's a show reel of, you know, you're presenting your best, and that's what it's for. Like, I don't mean that you have to start. You can't put out pretty pictures and the ones that you look nice in. Like, I don't think there's anything actually wrong with that. As long as people know, like, people look at someone's feed or whatever and realize that this is this person at their best, not at their worst. You haven't seen that person at their worst, and because they probably just look like you on a day-to-day basis, like in terms of they don't look polished and, you know, perfect, and that's fine, and that's how you should realize that everyone's like that. I think I've said it on so many times before. This I don't know where I've got it from, but someone's probably said it. Comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah. And
Theodore Roosevelt, I think it was.
Yeah. So
you know me, I'm the quote king, man.
Yeah. So comparison, I'd never try and claim something as my own. Someone's always said it, and I've taken it from somewhere. But
don't worry, I've stolen one or two. Fine, don't worry.
Yeah, comparison is the thief of joy, because like when you compare yourself to others, you're literally just taking away your experience of like just being present in yourself without sounding too like airy-fairy. Just be present with who you are and what you're trying to achieve, and focus kind of like a bit more tunnel focus, tune the noise out, and like take inspiration, but don't be idealistic of someone, because you'll end up like always falling short of something that's not true.
Yeah. But if anyone wants to idolize me, I'm more to be idolized. And then again, if anyone saw me this morning, they wouldn't know what I would not be anyone's idol, I tell you, at all. But, you know, like, just go back to what you said. You know, it reminds me like what Bruce Lee said. You know, he used to talk a lot about laser focus, and, you know, that's being the absolute key of you know, what he considered his success. And I think for anyone else, and, you know, a lot of successful people say that you know, that is a big key. And it's so true that you need to be able to kind of have that tunnel vision on some of the things you want, to the you know, to the point where you actually then start to drop all the other things, you know, whether it's training, you know, training your body to be in the state that you want it to be, to achieve the business that you want. You know, I'm sure there's people going to look at your business success and think, great, I want a piece of that. So I want to do something and be successful in business. And so, you know, I could, again, completely agree. I think it's a very powerful piece of wisdom that I hope people take on board and acknowledge as well. It's just such a fundamental thing.
And you know what, saying that, like, often people think like people get like, they see success as something that's motivating and like inspiring, and they hear people talking on a podcast like this, and I think, I could never do that, or I could never be like that. And, you know, talk about Bruce Lee and laser focus. Someone who's listening to, who's never trained in their life, could be going, there's no way I'm going to be like that. Like, I can't go to the gym and run for 2 minutes, let alone do, I don't know, a marathon on the, you know, London Marathon like Amit's going to be doing. But you have to remember that, one, everyone starts somewhere, but also you're very laser focused in one area of your life, at least one. You're either a successful, like, a parent, or you go to work and you give your best, or you've done something that someone somewhere finds admirable and inspiring, and there's something about you that you give everything to. You can take that and apply it to anything in your life. You just have to create the same level of motivation. Often no one will miss a kid's drop off. Like, you know, they don't go, I can't be asked to take my child to school today. They're just going to have to stay home. You know, you're not going to school today. That's it.
I'm sure many have felt like that at times.
Yeah, but they do it because they understand their child's education is important, or they don't want to get fined at the very least. There's something that forces them to take action. And you just have to find that thing that forces you to be like Bruce Lee and laser focus. Something that forces you to take action. That forced Amit today to just get out of bed and do what he had to. That forces anybody to keep going at crazy times like this, when your business is about to collapse or whatever, and you just wake up and you try to save it. Or, you know, I don't know, you might be listening to this thinking, I want to get started on my health and fitness and don't know where to start. People we train are completely normal. We don't train athletes. We don't train superstars. You guys are all athletes listening to this who do train with us. You all are superstars. I don't mean it in a rude way. I mean, when you came to us, you weren't someone who was like someone who just beasted themselves in the gym, but you found it from somewhere. You turned into someone who's strong and fit and can become lean and do whatever they want with their body and can do incredible things. And you were able to do it, and anyone can. I truly believe that you can apply that kind of level of laser focus from somewhere in your life. If you can channel it and put it in, you will have it. You just have to find that unlock for you.
Amen. I'm just going to give a note to my friend who's watching this, by the way, as well. He said, have you started drinking, Amit? Are you falling off the wagon or something? I'm still a vegan teetotaler. Don't worry, this is kombucha. It's an organic kombucha, raspberry and lemon flavor. So don't worry, it's not alcohol. I haven't lockdown hasn't driven me to booze just yet, so I'm still good.
Hopefully you're getting some sponsorship there.
Actually, this is what I saw today in the supermarket. It's Lobros.
Send them a message. Say, become the podcast sponsor.
Yeah, you never know. They might be listening, and then they'll, hey man, we found our spokesperson. Yeah, no, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We're coming to the close, but before I do that, I usually ask my guests one or two questions that kind of just to finish on, and I think we're going to make yours slightly different. I think for me, one of my things that I would like to achieve physically is I would love to push myself to do an ultra marathon, I think, which generally minimum about 40 miles. So that's one thing I would like to potentially do. I've never done like the London to Brighton bike ride, for example.
Okay.
If it comes back, I think that's something I've started cycling again. I started cycling now as well. So that's something potentially I would also consider doing. But in terms of you, what's one physical thing that you would like to accomplish? Have you ever been tempted by an Ironman, a triathlon, or is anything like that for you personally that in terms of your journey of chasing happiness and freedom, is this something that you want to achieve like that?
I don't actually. I don't. Crazily enough, I don't. I did do like this, the Spartan race and things like that. I think it's Reebok. I'm not sure, but yeah, I did one of those and it was great. Like you really, I got the bug straight away after, and it slowly fizzled out and went away. It just wasn't high on my priorities. I just do it to feel like keep going in terms of a health point of view and just stay strong and fit. And that's my motivator. But saying that, I'm always up for a challenge. So if it was put to me, I'd probably take anything, to be honest. That I'm not one to shy away from something. So hopefully I haven't set myself up there. I feel like Amit's going to ask me a question that I don't want to answer.
I'm making a note now. Now that I know, I'm going to set you a check. When I do take on my ultra or something, right, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, Vin said he wanted to do it, so I do something. Yeah.
To be fair, like I actually, although those types of workouts aren't the productive ones, that they're not the ones that you should be always doing, but I really, really like those ones where they're just there to almost see what you're mentally capable of, rather than what you're physically capable of. So I train with a guy called Andy McKenzie, and he has like a systematic programming and things like that make you fitter and stronger and so on. But every Saturday he posts a workout in the group called Agon, and I can't remember the acronym why it stands for that, but it's something to do with like Greek gods or something. But it's a mental challenge anyway. What the acronym stands for, and it is to test your capabilities of what you are like mentally. And it's a choice. You don't have to do it. So if you're not feeling like it, you don't take part. But like this Sunday, I did it. and the one that he posted this week. And they're always tough. They're always very grueling. They're always very demanding on your body, but more so on your head, because you constantly feel like, I can't do another round of this, or that the reps are so high, or the distances are so long, or whatever it is. But I really like those workouts because they almost give you this kind of level of self-confidence. Like, the marathon, it's not for everyone. Not everyone can do it. If you can do it, you're quite high up there in terms of fitness levels. It's an achievement. It's not something that you can just, wake up and I'm going to run a marathon today. Some people maybe, but for most people, it's not like that. But so when you actually achieve it, you feel a sense of accomplishment. And I love that after a workout. So any workouts that kind of create that kind of, you have to dig deep within you, I love. Yeah. So yeah, any kind of challenge like that I'd probably love as well.
Yeah, no, me too. I think sometimes just when you're challenged, right, it's just something that gets me fired up. I don't know if it's the male ego thing or whatever it is. I don't know, but it's just nice to be challenged. And I was even thinking today that there's a chance that the marathon may get cancelled actually again.
Yeah.
But even if it is, I'm actually planning to go ahead and run 26 miles that day. So I mean, it'll be different because you're spurred on so much by the people around you. And part of that is the beautiful social aspect of it as well. Like when I ran the marathon back in 2012, the amount of people I met and came across, like there was one guy who was running his 666 marathon, and there was another guy, and these like guys in their 70s and stuff, and all they do in their life in their retirement is they go around, run marathons, raise money for people, and that's it. So they just enjoy it, they love it, they love the community thing. But I think for me, it will be the mental challenge of just doing it, pushing myself to do it, and see if I can.
I think I've heard you on another podcast. Sorry to interrupt you, but like you said about you completed it, but you didn't run the whole thing, right? And that's really
right. Yeah,
bugged
that's
you.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that on that day when you're running on your own, obviously it's going to be a lot harder.
Oh
but
yeah.
you need to remember that
Oh yeah,
feeling.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What
So
was even worse about that was just as I was approaching the finish line, I got overtaken by that 101-year-old Sikh guy. And I don't know, that's not even a joke, like him and his entourage came running by, and he pipped me to the finish line, and I was crying almost.
Oh really?
My 101-year-old man. Now, obviously, I wasn't. No, it wasn't a race against him, but just that little thing just in your head goes, "What the hell? I've just been overtaken by someone that age."
Yeah. As long as competition doesn't consume you, I think competition is healthy. Like it can push people on.
Exactly, right. And it's when it, so long as it doesn't go too far, and it is just to spur you on. I think that's a very, very powerful thing. But yeah, so that's the plan anyway, because I would still love to do it. Because in part of my head as well, there is a tiny bit of me that thinks as well, right? Okay, cool. You know what? I don't have to train as hard now, and I don't want to let myself get into that mindset, because I think it's so. I had this conversation with some friends the other day as well. And we were talking about the whole aspect of being forgiving of yourself versus pushing yourself, and I'm all for pushing yourself a little bit. And so if it keeps me going, keeps me on the straight and narrow, reminds me to run 3 times a week and go do 5K, 10K if I can push myself to do that, great, wonderful. I'm going to keep on doing it, and then do the big day and go for the full 26 miles. It goes. Obviously, I'll build up to it as well.
Yeah.
And for me, it's harder than the average person. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3". I'm well over 130 kg, and for me to move myself forward is it takes twice the effort of the average person. And but then again, I love that challenge. I love the challenge.
You just have to keep pushing yourself, and it's about what voice you listen to. Everyone has the 2 voices in their heads that tell them you can and you can't, and it's a choice which one you listen to, and people forget that. It's the one that they make the loudest.
Exactly, right. That's it. You turn the volume up on the good voice and turn the volume down on the bad voice.
Yeah, that's just literally what stopped me from canceling a subscription with a workout. Like, so someone else writes my programs rather than me writing them myself. Rather than canceling that or continuing with it and actually doing it that week and utilizing it completely. So yeah, it's just a little thing who you choose to listen to at that moment. And at that moment that's telling you to go, you're tired, Amit, quit. That's when you have to listen to the voice like, no, you've got this, man. This is easy for you.
That's usually the voice in my head when I'm just brushing my teeth.
That's the voice. That's the voice everyone should have in their head every morning. Can I imagine Amit telling you, just going, "You could do this, man. You got this."
Oh no, it's the other voice to tell me even when I brush my teeth. Quit, man. Quit.
Oh.
Just quit. Go
Don't
back.
quit. They're gonna stay yellow. They're never gonna turn white.
Exactly. Yeah. Just give up now. Don't worry about it. Oh dear, I have to fight that voice every single day, every minute of every day. But it's it's been a beautiful conversation, man. It's been wonderful getting to know you, and just tell everyone how, if they want to find out more about what you do, even connect with you or sign up to one of your programs, if they can, how can they reach you?
Well, if you need anything, you need any support, you can reach us at any of our social media pages and send us a message through there. So all of them at Body and Beyond UK, all one word, and that is usually our handle on every single platform. So you'll be able to find us. And if you just want to send me a message about anything you want help with, just hit me up at vin@bodybeyond.co.uk, and you'll be able to reach out to me. And yeah, that's it.
Lovely. And what I will do is I'll update the video with all the links and stuff, and of course when the podcast is live, it will have all the links attached to it as well. And so I just want to say thank you, man. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking your time. I know you've got to go give your little one some dinner and put them to bed and stuff, and you took time out to come on today as well. It's a pleasure.
What's actually really crazy is my partner is due at any moment for our second child.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so she's been getting pains since yesterday. So I was gonna tell you, like, shit, what should I do? I really want to go on. What if she goes into labor and I have to leave the podcast live in the middle of it?
That'd be brilliant. Come on, that should get my numbers up. Come on.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, do you know what? She said just go on, like because it's very funny that you asked me to come on a few days ago or whenever you asked me, but I listened to someone else and he was like about asking people for something that you want. So I wanted you to come on my podcast and you asked me. It's funny how these things happen, isn't it?
That's
So
cool.
now I can ask you to come on mine.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hell yeah. Your missus is probably outside the door right now, just waiting. She's like, any second now, it's about to drop. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna let him get through this podcast.
Well, she's not actually in labor for anyone, any family members or anything like what the hell? You didn't even tell us. You tell people on a podcast. She's not. We were just concerned that she may go into labor.
On that note, I'll just say that my mum always used to make fun of me that she'd find out more about me online or on radio than she ever did in person.
That's funny.
She always used to complain about that. How come I find out these things on radio or on your blog or whatever, and you never actually tell me? I don't know. I just communicate better when I'm feel like I'm communicating to the world. Just the way it is. But
I'm the same. I've literally made videos for my parents and stuff, as opposed to telling them in person. Nice things I want to say to them.
And that's probably how they're going to find out about their second baby right now.
Sorry, Mom. No. She definitely knows about the baby.
Oh, that's right. Then. Well, listen, I want to say thank you one more time. You've been a superstar. And remember, folks, you can connect with Vin on his socials as well. And join us for the next episode of the Feel Inspired podcast. But in the meantime, I'm Amit Sodha. This has been Patel. And wishing you all a wonderful, beautiful, sunny Tuesday evening in London or across the world, wherever you are as well.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me on. All right, stay with me. I'm going to end the live. Right. Take care, everyone. Bye.